Hello, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and we're very excited to continue narrating the winners of our 5th anniversary short story competition. I do hope you have enjoyed hearing these stories read as much as we've enjoyed reading them. Now, sit back, turn off the lights if you dare, and attend the tale of Mr. Chris Edwards, who wrote 1 in 5. It was with leaden steps that I made my rounds of the cages in the basement of the university where I'd squandered my years. Once I thought myself destined for greatness, but latterly had come to accept mediocrity. This mundanity would be how I spent my last few months on our world, and only now did I realize how little I'd achieved. No spouse, no children, no career of note. When I died, my memorial would be nothing more than a vacancy advert in the journals. At last, I came to the department mascot, Vickers, a peculiar creature that had been with the university since before my own tenure, so at least 2 decades. Most likely a sport of some kind. The beast fit nowhere in the common taxonomy, but the fur on the little thing was still a luxuriant dark brown, even after all these years. It seemed that generations of biologists had been waiting for the strange little homunculus to die so that they could autopsy the remains. Vickers, it appeared, would outlast me just as he had outlasted so many others. Suddenly, a fit of spiteful resolve overtook me, and I decided that even if I could not claim victory over the rebellious cells of my own body, I could at least gain victory over the hapless little creature with its mocking dark eyes. It cried out at the fierceness of my grip, but quickly hung limp after I injected it with a lethal dose of milky propofol. Life had not quite fled from that form when I pinned it to the operating table and began my primary exploration. And I was able to witness the beating of the heart, the inflation of the tiny lung sacs, and various other vital processes. But here the internal anatomy began to drive me to distraction. Within the main body, the creature was almost entirely composed of soft, nervous tissue, and the folds and formations made it look almost exactly like a human brain. For the creature the size of a soccer ball, it had channeled a truly incredible amount of bodily resources towards cognition. This probably explained the creature's lethargic habits. With such a large brain, it had little energy to do more than eat and sleep. I finished my grisly task and decided that I had to know more. So I sent samples of various organs off for testing. When the results came back, they were not what I expected. From DNA to cell structure, it was fully human. I dug further into the creature's history, investigating dusty archives until I found a picture of the original expedition that had returned this specimen, a mission to the deepest jungles of Peru in 1928, led by a Professor Vickers. Could this thing really have been alive for almost a century? And why was it named for the professor who, I noted, had a luxuriant head of dark hair? A man with a few months to live needs little reason to risk everything. I packed my bags for Peru that very night, having instructed my attorney to liquidate such limited estate as I had gathered. Within 2 days, I had made my way to Lima, from whence I proceeded to the stretch of the Amazonian Peru where Professor Vickers had made his first expedition. Weeks of travel passed, during which I grew steadily weaker. Were it not for the burning desire to see the matter through, I believe I would have died along that trip, so physically arduous was it. After we had long ago left the areas usually frequented by tourist guides, I had only one English-speaking man left in my party, a youth called Lupo, who was colorful in both dress and language. He told me that he spoke many different dialects common to the region, including the Amagua patois, most common in the tribes hereabout. The latter proved to be an exaggeration, to say the least. At last we found the Xibicama, that self-same tribe that Professor Vickers had been sent out to study. I had Lupo greet them and offer the gifts that we had brought, lenses, a radio, and various other small treasures that might hold some value to primitive peoples. While they seemed happy enough to accept such items, they remained fixated on their disturbing pets, each of which seemed more improbable than the next, and no two a breeding pair. All of them had those mocking eyes, though, just as Vickers had done. After hearing our questions and receiving our gifts, their elders spoke with Lupo at great length, gesturing frequently into the forest and then at the pets. The boy translated this as best as he was able. They say that in the forest that way there lies a palace of flesh, where all that lives can be remade into new things. However, they say that there's a great danger, that only 1 in 5 who go return. The rest become monsters like this. He pointed at the gruesome pets with some horror on his face. What else could I do? I went and I learned the truth. Lupo's translations were inaccurate, to say the least. The creatures of the palace taught me how to control my cells, to banish the cancer and reshape them at will, but the price they demanded was high. I was allowed to keep only 1 in 5 portions of my flesh. Upon leaving, the rest would remain to gild their pulsing palace. But I was not some ignorant savage. I was a biologist. After some thought, I sculpted my head to allow these beautiful wings to uncurl from my cheeks. My spine has become a parasitical worm capable of fusing with the flesh of others, and my teeth have become so very strong. Having consumed Lupo's head, I now quite happily wear his young, strong body, just as I will no doubt wear many more in the years to come. As always, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft.